There are 182 creatures in ARK Survival Evolved, and every time I beat one in hand-to-hand combat, I transform into it. Oh no! I didn't mean to do that. And I also use mods to turn the island into a super map, combining all 12 maps. Every single creature spawns here, and I have 100 days to defeat and play as them all. And by the way, I'm not allowed to transform into the same dinosaur twice, so if I mess up the order, I could get stuck and never become human again. I guess this is my life now. On day one, I spawned on the beach. I was a bit confused as to why my point of view looked like my eyeballs were inside my toenail, but I quickly realized I'm literally a leech. I started with the leech because it has the lowest base health out of any dino in the game, 40 hit points. So this is what it feels like to be the scum of the earth.
Is there no way we can get rid of him?
Not without cause, Michael.
I have cause. It is because I hate him.
I tried to farm some fiber and wood, but nothing happened. I can't even level up as a leech. I'm permanently level 1. And the stamina was so bad that I might as well just not have legs. Oh, wait. I needed to change into something else, anything else, as soon as possible. So I decided to stalk my first victim. I was sprinting for like 4 seconds. I tried to latch on to the dude and rob him of his blood, because leeches be doing that to me every time I set foot in the swamp. But after pressing every button on my controller, and some that weren't on my controller,
What do you mean by that?
the only thing I managed to do was bite for 12 damage. But then the dude used his legs. Get back here, young man. Anyways, I continued to walk, well, crawled slowly along the beach. I was getting hungry, and if I didn't find a blood donor soon, I would inevitably perish. But there was one creature that I could beat in hand-to-feather combat. I'm sorry, buddy. Rip. I seem to be in possession of some wings, and becoming one with the dodo marks dino number 2 out of 153. So after checking my surroundings, it seems that I need to find a female to, procreate. And since dodos are actually tameable, they have a lot more content in this mod than the leech. I can level up and craft a storage, a home, and even a nest to raise an army of flightless children. And there's even challenges for me to improve my prehistoric fashion. My first goal as a weakling, though, was to find some food. My dodo brain was craving berries, and it took me about 5.2 seconds to find some. Dodo life is pretty easy, minus the living in constant fear of a degenerate smiting your existence, of course. Anyways, I leveled my health from 40 to 44, and after farming a bit more, I leveled it to 72.6. That's right, you don't want to mess with Bob. By the way, the reason I'm doing 153 instead of 182 is because a lot of the creatures literally can't attack. Like if I became a glow bug or a snail, I'm just stuck. And I don't even want to talk about this guy.
They ask you how you are.
I spent the rest of the day being jealous of birds that actually could fly, and at this point, nightfall was already approaching. So I admired the northern lights above the Genesis swamp trees in the distance while pondering how I would need to swap creatures more than once per day if I wanted to complete all 153 by day 100. So on day 2, after a very close encounter with my mortal enemy, I found a fellow dodo. A female dodo. So I made my move. Your nest or mine? And just like that, I now had a wife, a baby on the way, and a captain's hat to assert my dominance. Everything was going great, but then this happened. Oh no! My loving wife was under attack, and despite my hefty investment into having 72.6 health, this man was unstoppable, and I had to make the very difficult decision of cowering in fear to protect our future child. Hell, well that went well. I needed 18 wood to make a dodo nest and hatch our egg, so I immediately got to work. Dude, really? And then I found a safe area to settle down and start a family. It's not much, but it's honest work. I decided to check out the challenge list while I was waiting around, but I really didn't have the stuff for any of these. But it wasn't long before baby Bob Jr. came into this world. And since Bob was already 1 minute old and very mature for his age, I decided to leave him at home alone to get some food and farm some wood for an herbivore storage. But when I returned, Bob Jr. was a full-grown man. By the way, these are my breeding rates if anybody wants to see that. I also increased this base level a little bit later in the video because level 1 takes forever, but I still left it pretty low. Anyways, it was halfway through day 2, and I really needed to move up in the world. There was a Hesperornis egg here which I could grab, which would force him to fight me to the death, and there was also a piranha in the water. Ow, he hits hard. Meanwhile, Bob Jr. is completely useless because he got himself stuck in the nest. I guess that's what happens when your parents leave you home alone from the age of 1 until 25. But anyway, there was also a turtle up here by the waterfall. I thought that I could maybe abuse his abysmal turn radius, as I've actually knocked these dudes out naked with my bare fist before. But no, dodos are just universally bad. So I made it back to my humble abode, and before scouting further, I needed to make a bed, which required level 20. I then finally decided to use my brain, and I picked up the nest, which immediately freed Bob Jr. from his excuses, and now we can set out to find him a new stepmom. The prehistoric world is really scary though, and it's filled with saber-toothed cats. But those guys look like innocent civilians compared to this version of the Cheshire Cat. He's a brand new champion in Raid Shadow Legends. If you haven't heard of Raid by now, it's gotta be your first time on the internet. Raid is currently running its latest global event called Alice's Adventure. And they've added 5 brand new, very cool looking legendary champions, all inspired by the tale of Alice in Wonderland. Alice the Wanderer, the Knave of Hearts, the Queen of Hearts, and those 3 are pretty cool. But my 2 favorites are these 2 fine gentlemen. The Mad Hatter, who's looking pretty mad, if I do say so myself, and the Cheshire Cat, who I'm probably gonna have, nightmares about that man, or that cat, or that demon. And you can earn Alice herself for completely free by just opening Raid. If you log in for 7 different days, you'll earn Alice, and on day 14, you'll get her 2-star perfect soul. Just make sure to get started before March 26th if you want to earn Alice and her creepy rabbit. There's also an event dungeon going on where the Queen of Hearts is living rent-free, but if you manage to take her down, the rewards include the exclusive pinpoint gear set. The dungeon is open until March 5th, so you don't want to miss out. But if you download using my link in the description or the QR code on screen, you'll immediately get a huge starter pack, and you'll get Tagoar. He's from the Orcs faction and is considered one of the best epic supports in the game. And when you hit level 15, you're gonna get a mouse woman named Fayne. She brings debuffs, poison, and is considered by many better than some legendaries. But it doesn't end there, because once you're in, you can enter the code Monkey King and get a free legendary Sun Wukong, an all-around amazing damage dealer. Code expires February 7th. And if you want to join my clan, the name's Juztify's Jungle. Everyone is welcome to join. So don't forget to download Raid using the QR code on screen or the link in the description below. And thank you to Raid for sponsoring today's video. No, Junior, run! I got deleted. Being a dodo sucks, man. At this point, I was down bad. Bro, your excrement is literally bigger than I am. I needed something, anything that could save me and get me out of this flightless bird. And on day 3, I found it. I thoroughly apologize for what I'm about to do. This guy was definitely stronger than Bob, but luckily he just runs away and I'm faster. The stamina was definitely a problem, but for some reason when I started hitting him from the front, he just kept sprinting into me.
I am abused.
But as I was regaining stamina for the second time, I realized this man's master plan. There was a Sarco over there by that tree, and if he was going down, he was gonna try and bring me with him. But unfortunately for Mr. Lystro, however, a couple more pecks to the left ankle, and that marks dinosaur number 3 out of 153. And with 150 more creatures to go, I evaluated my options. My spreadsheet was actually organized by base health, and the stars on the side here indicate the things that I thought were going to be very difficult to get a kill with. And this might end up being the hardest challenge that I've attempted yet, especially because I can't use the same creature twice, and I might actually get trapped. But I can't really plan ahead because it depends on how lucky I get with what I actually find in the wild. Anyways, Chopstick here is way faster than Bob, which is an immediate upgrade. And I was able to farm Bob's cousin for levels now since I can't transform into the same creature twice. But 5 seconds later, while I was exploring the area, this happened. I perished twice. Luckily, Spike Wazowski here got revenge on the menace to society, and after admiring what I'm pretty sure is a Crystal Isles themed floating island in the distance. By the way, there's like a part of every single official map in the game and all of their biomes all on this one map, by the way. It's pretty cool. I came across a dodic that was inside of his shell, and rightfully so, because this family of raptors over here tried to murder him, but this could be the perfect opportunity to become something much stronger. So I started biting, and things were going alright until the raptors won the Pangean Civil War over there, and poor little Chopstick became their next victim of a war crime. So I wandered the beach all on my lonesome for a while, and eventually I came across a giant white beam shooting down from the heavens. And right next to that giant heavenly beam were my two potential lovers. But they were both male. For some reason, I could actually grab the supply drop, but I couldn't actually use the items. Although there are a couple creatures in this mod that have the ability to build and use tools. Anyways, I decided to rain death upon the male Lystro population. Look, they should have just been a female, and then this wouldn't have happened. I then spent the rest of the day trying to assault this Hesperornis and failing miserably every time due to a lack of stamina. And after almost getting eviscerated by this piranha, I realized that he had some mental deficiencies. This was my chance to be a fish. Wow, that's a sentence I've never said before. Anyway, the piranha was getting bloody. But then, being out of shape ruined my life once again. Oh, come on. I tried to regain stam, but the piranha had recovered from his low IQ behaviors, and I became a fish stick. Good times. On day 4, I found some more Lystros, and this time, there was a female. So, you come here often? So with a baby on the way, I proved my worth to Lady Chop by asserting my dominance over Bob's uncle. I then made a nest for our future youngling and farmed some wood to make a house for the missus. Happy wife, happy life. Oh, dude, I think I chose the wrong wife. This one's level 64. What is my level 8? Honey, I think we might become polyamorous in a minute here. Anyways, I set out on a trip to the grocery store, and I never returned, because after some scouting, I found a Moschops. And not only did I realize that I named my Lystro Chopstick, thinking it was a Moschops, I guess. I don't know what's wrong with me. But Moschops are also kind of a cheat code in this run. Not only are they super strong, but in the face of any adversity whatsoever, they turn and run to their mother. So I can pretty much take them out with anything. But I won't be killing one with my Lystro, mainly because this dude is slower than my grandma. Okay. So, I may have forgot to unpause my recording, but what happened was, I was on a long walk along the beach, and then, out of nowhere, a wild pack of microscopic degenerates assaulted my toenails. So I retaliated with a bite to the forehead and sent that man to the Shadow Realm. And now, my name is Steve, Destroyer of Ankles. I decided to start a tribe since compies can get a pack bonus. Oh, and also, that marks Dino number 4 out of 153. I was trying to test this guy's attacks out, but for some reason the right trigger, which is normally the basic attack, does literally nothing with this guy. But the left trigger does this little bite thing, which is the basic attack, I assume. Kind of weird. Anyways, there was a group of my childhood homies getting pulverized by a miscreant, so naturally, I had to help them. Never mind, y'all are on your own. And after getting evaporated by a fish, I made my way all the way back over to this fine chop, and it took a very long time, doing about 8 damage per hit, but eventually I leveled up, and we started doing 9 damage per hit. Hey, now we're doing 9. And after ankle biting for another 5 solid minutes, I was now 1 with the chop. 5 out of 153 creatures are now complete, and I almost instinctually deleted this Parasaur, but I realized I should probably use the Moschops on something better because they are pretty good. So I took some time to farm materials for levels and slayed some peasants on the beach, and I began to head north, hoping to find a decent carnivore. I didn't really see much for a while, probably because the fog was horrendous at this time of night, but I continued forward towards the giant island pillars from the Genesis Ocean biome, and it wasn't long before day 4 was coming to an end. But apparently I crossed through the Valguero area and came face to face with a heathen. A Deinonychus? Chopstick fought well, but was outnumbered and Yeah, it didn't end well. Luckily, I respawned close by, and despite the dark, the fog, and the rain, I could see what appeared to be the Extinction City and a bridge to get there. So after waddling my way across the universe, I began crip walking across the bridge. I decided to take a bite out of this street light for some materials that I can't use due to a lack of opposable thumbs. But on the other side, I found a tappy. And it would be great to have a flyer because some of the biomes are behind a teleporter on those floating islands up above me. But the tappy dude must really hate Asian food or something because he ran away in fear at the mere sight of Chopstick. Anyways, I entered the city, I passed a couple of our robot overlord, got trolled by another tappy that pretended to be stuck and then flew away at the sight of a Chopstick again, witnessed two electronic sociopaths terrorizing a local Spike Wazowski, and spectated as Chopstick took a gravity-defying dump. But eventually, I made it to the wasteland. There was an orbital supply drop in the distance, the thing that all the smoke is coming from over there. And honestly, I'm kinda scared of the corrupted that are probably over there as well, but I did spot a raptor, which gave me an idea. I wanted to leave here as a raptor, but I also needed to check off both of the robots from my list. So I headed back over to this cylindrical looking Siri and lodged my Chopstick right into his motherboard. That marked Dino number 6 out of 153, and as Mr. Roboto, I now had the ability to jab, the ability to slash, and the ability to let everybody see me rolling. You can also jump somehow, and I figured out that if you like spam the jump button, he just speed boosts across the map. But anyways, after I excommunicated some useless members of our prehistoric society, I realized that since the defense units aren't tameable, I can't level up. This really sucks, but I was still strong enough, and there were so many creatures here that I decided to go ahead and knock even more off the list. I still plan on leaving as a raptor, but why don't we finish what Mr. Roboto here had already started? So I just saved this man's life and then transformed into the thing that was trying to delete him, and then I came back to take his life. Wow, that's actually kind of messed up. Oh well. The fight was pretty close, and honestly, this man might be winning right now. But once I got his health low enough, he started running away. And even though I'm pretty sure he would have probably beat me, well, the dude just gave up, and I was able to take the W. And Spike Wazowski here marks Dino number 7 out of 153. But it didn't last long, as I literally woke up and chose violence. And just like that, Spike Wazowski was now Trike Wazowski, 8 out of 153. And when I spawned back in, this random RG immediately wanted to smoke. And like any rational survivor, I tried to run because I really wanted to save the RG for later. But he wouldn't leave me alone, and I'm not giving this man the satisfaction of slaying Trike Wazowski, so 9 out of 153, I guess. Anyways, my plan of getting a raptor was now foiled, as I didn't want to waste an RG on a raptor, but I did want to explore the map a bit more, and maybe teleport to another area. The RG actually has some useful abilities in this mod as well. Essentially, I can press R to use this heat vision, which I'm pretty sure is the exact same as the snow owls from Extinction, but I can also glide like a griffin, which allows me to get around the map a lot faster, and it makes playing as an RG a lot more bearable in terms of travel. So at the start of day 6, I tried on a couple costumes that I unlocked for leveling up. The first one wore these glasses that allowed me to roleplay as a librarian, and the other one was these bunny ears, which made me look like a bunny. A very large, hawk-like bunny. Anyways, I decided to become the best librarian in Pangea, and I rocked the bifocals while exploring the area. The city was pretty barren, but the wasteland was absolutely terrifying. I found some gassy bags over here, but I guess I got a little too close to the red orbital drop because it started, which probably means wyverns and gigas are about to show up, so I high feather-tailed it out of there and saw a Spino spawn in midair. But then I realized I was almost out of stamina. Oh no, I can't land here. The corrupted trees were all outside of the map border, and I didn't know what to do. The ground was death, and it wasn't looking good. But luckily, I managed to land on one of the little trees that barely poked into the map right above the sulfur-filled hot tubs, and I found the Extinction boss terminal on the way out, where you can spawn all 4 of the Extinction Titans. And I don't know if I'll get to the bosses in this run, but I'm definitely gonna try. Anyways, I made it to Carno Island, where there were many potential lovers. 20, male. 24, male. 20. And I eventually found one of my colleagues tussling with a professional. My fellow aviator was actually winning, which means the level had to be good. But the question still stands. Is she a female? And, well, after further investigation, I can confirm after a drive-by aerial mating session with this level 72 specimen that she was indeed a female. I wonder if the game just always makes me a male. I guess I'll never get to experience giving birth. Anyways, I left my wife, who was named Hawk Hogan, on this rock, and I kept our child in my pocket for now. It was time to explore and see everything that this world has to offer. I'm actually pretty impressed with this map mod. I explored most of the areas, but I know I missed a few, and I didn't go through any of the teleporters because I don't know if I'm ready for that yet, but supposedly those all lead to the crazier areas like Genesis 2 Wasteland and the Space Biome and some other ones. Anyways, I couldn't find any more good RGs, so I just made it this level 28 one. But despite my surplus of RG eggs, the crafting recipe for the nest wasn't there. I'm not really sure what happened because I know it was there before, but now, well, somebody stole the secret formula. I can't hatch the eggs, but I guess that's fine because 3 RGs is still solid to take out something stronger. I just needed to level them up a bit. And I had to farm RGs for this because I haven't been anything else yet, but I did manage to pump the health and melee of Hawk Hogan a decent bit, right before shoving some raw Argentavis right down my Argentavis' esophagus. Guess he's Cannibal Hogan now. Anyways, I was a bit too afraid of Rexes, but I still wanted to take on something as strong as possible. And right next to the ocean across the water, we found a target. There were 2 aloes here, and without even thinking, I immediately just whistled both of my wives to brutally maul the aloe duo. And it was going okay at first, but there was a Rex bodyguard right next to them, and things went downhill fast. I tried to whistle Hawk Hogan out of there, but it was too late. I lost both of my winged wives that day, and to add salt to the wound, some random bird stole my unborn child. I'm all alone, but I wasn't giving up just yet. That aloe is going straight to the Shadow Realm. I just had to heal up first. And after I managed to get him alone, everything was set up, and it was time to strike. That was Dino 10 out of 153, and now I was a powerful aloe. Let's go.
2 seconds later.
Ow, dude, who do you think you are? Oh, no. Bro, I didn't want to do that.
You done messed up, Aaron!
So yeah, that happened. And for some reason, the piranha didn't actually work. I was having a bit of an out-of-body experience. Luckily though, in my ghost form, I could not only haunt your dreams, but I could also whistle my body around, which technically works, but is super annoying. So I decided to declare war on the first living being that I saw to escape this cursed fish. And my first target was very shocking. So I spectated, placing all of my bets on myself. I went bankrupt. Anyways, I came back for round 2, grabbed my second bag of popcorn, and once again watched myself 1v1 a jellyfish from outside my body. Wow, I'm inventing a lot of new sentences today. There's no shot that anyone that's ever lived in the entire history of the world, I guess, has ever said that. So, I'm still outside of my body, but now I'm a Cnidaria. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but I'm made of jelly. So on day 9, I began swimming. Yeah, this might take a while. I decided to beef with this shark because I either win via the power of electricity or I get to spawn somewhere else, and I consider that a win as well. Bruce from Finding Nemo seemed to really enjoy electroshock therapy, and after about 2 minutes of watching a shark get tasered by jelly, that marks dino number 12 out of 153. And as a self-proclaimed Ronald Megalodonald, I can allegedly grab things, sonar, and jump out of the water. What? And I can detect everything. I've evolved so much that I can even jump outside of the water and walk on land. Or waddle. Slither? Hey, how's it going, dude? So on my first day as an apex predator, I ate 37 piranhas for breakfast, found an aquatic wife, impregnated her, and named her Bruce for some reason. I'm sorry, I could not say that with a straight face. I put on a captain's hat, and then Bruce and I went for a romantic morning swim. We have the ability to craft a megalodon's lair with some pearls, chitin, fish meat, and megalodon teeth if we ever meet a megalodentist. But it didn't take long until we came across something much scarier. Is that a Tuso? Is that an alpha Tuso? He seemed to have fallen and can't get up. And I know it's kind of cheesy to fight a tentacle man while he's down, but I couldn't pass up this opportunity. Hopefully he stays stuck. No, Bruce! Bruce and our child were emancipated from the tyranny of my existence. But luckily, I was able to just sit in the right spot to avoid being grabbed by this buffoon. I'm not exaggerating at all when I say that this fight literally took 30 minutes. Alpha Tusos have an insane amount of health, and I was doing like 100 damage on a good day. But other than that, everything was going great. Until this happened. Mr. Squidward here was now unstuck, somehow. And I'm pretty sure that he still has more than half of his health. There's absolutely no way that I should win this, but I've already come this far and the sunk cost fallacy wouldn't let me back down. So I continued to abuse his abhorrent turn radius while trying not to become a sushi roll. But then, this happened. That man just inked me and dipped? Squidward Tentacles here was starting to get low health, and when Tusos get low, they ink you to try to blind and slow you down. That way, they can run away crying to their squid mothers. And he was low health, but low in this case still meant like probably 10,000. And well, yeah, it took like 6.5 dog years, but eventually I sent Mr. Squidward to the afterlife. Finally, let's go, dude. And completing a challenge of killing an alpha, I think that's what it was, gave me this rainbow color skin thing, and it's pretty cool actually. I don't have any alphas on my tier list, but I'll consider this as completing the regular Tuso, which marks dinosaur number 13 out of 153. And since I was now the strongest creature in the ocean, well, it's time to work backwards. The ocean is kind of boring in this game. It really needs an update. And me swimming around just looking for all of these water creatures is definitely not good for an entertaining video. So we're gonna summarize the important parts. Moza Lisa, 14 out of 153. Got forced to play Squid Game and deceased. Lead Sick Thieves, 15 out of 153. Aquatic Long Neck Rifle, 16 out of 153. Dunkeldor, 17 out of 153. Basilosaurus, 18 out of 153. Liopleurodon, this dude took like 2 light years to find. 19 out of 153. Man Ray, 20 out of 153. Organic Tesla,
21
out of 153. Senor Lightbulb. So apparently eels literally hit for 2 damage. Like, bro, the leech was better than that. And for some reason, I'm not able to do the secondary electric pulse attack thing. So yeah. Good times. Anyways, it's day 12 now, and I guess we'll have to fight something easier. And with 2 damage, we're also going to need to get help from Bowser here. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. 22 out of 153. Okay, so the salmon is glitched just like the piranha from earlier, and I didn't know that, so doing this so late in the water tames was probably a mistake. And I didn't really have many options at this point. Dolphins are way too fast, and they're obviously just gonna run away from me. I don't really know what I was thinking, to be honest. And I spent the rest of the day trying to find something that was like stuck that would be an easy kill. But on day 13, after wasting a bunch of time, I realized that my salmon refuses to attack anything. Even on a regular fish, bro is a coward and just runs away. Also, I tested some other creatures, and the Eurypterid does the exact same thing, by the way. So yeah, I took the salmon and the Eurypterid off of my list. Anyways, after spawning inside the mouth of a hoodlum, I became the next weakest water creature, a Diplocaules. I picked the weakest one possible to transform into because I thought that seemed fair. But for some reason, I was paralyzed, unable to move. I could look around with my right stick, but I couldn't use the left. It's like I'm trapped in my own body. I figured out that I could whistle to walk forward, and I thought maybe I could control myself if I reached the water. But once I dipped my toes in, well, I'm not doing any of this, bro. I'm literally not touching my controller right now. Apparently, I have a deep desire from within to be a trick shotter. Also, what is that? Oh, that's my body from when it spawned me on land as a Moza. Anyways, I became an Ichthy because they're passive, and I was gonna easily kill one with the Diplocaules anyway. So that's creature number 25 out of 153, and yeah, some of the dinos in this mod clearly don't work, but I'm still gonna try and do my best to get through them all. So I used Luke Seawalker to dismantle Senor Lightbulb, which marks dino number 26 out of 153, and that was pretty much all of the water creatures at this point. All of them except for one, and this one's pretty big. During that music montage, I found this underwater Genesis doorway thing, which looks pretty insane, and it has some of the Megachelon Ninja Turtle dudes from Genesis 1, and it also has this shipwreck with black pearls and a sunken treasure chest, which I can't grab due to my lack of arms. Anyways, the Plessies were emotionally assaulting the Ninja Turtles in here, and the poor guys weren't even fighting back. But since they don't mind being assaulted by aquatic long neck rifles, I decided to try and snipe them when they got low health. On the first Megachelon, I was unsuccessful, and the Plessie got the kill. But on this other guy, after watching the Plessie do 99% of the work, Senor Lightbulb stream sniped that man and reigned victorious. Bro is an absolute behemoth. And Master Oogway here marks dino number 27 out of 153. And bro, this man is moving slower than, well, basically he's not moving. If I tried to walk across the map, we'd hit day 100 before I made it. The bunny ears from the Big and Tall store are pretty cool though. And he can shoot like water from his mouth, but I'm not really sure what that does. Anyways, I decided to go for this Bronto that was right next to me because I didn't want to spend 3 hours traveling another 5 foot, and a Bronto is a substantial speed upgrade, actually. But instead of demolishing him, I accidentally kidnapped the heavyweight champion. Bro, get off!
Wouldn't you like to know, weather boy?
Well, this is awkward. Eventually, the dude decided to come down and fight me like a man, and that was his biggest mistake, because after an easy victory, that marks dino number 28 out of 153. And after grabbing this Explorer note and learning about magic mushrooms during story time with Rockwell, I almost accidentally manslaughtered this dino by stepping on him because he wouldn't leave me alone and kept standing under my feet. But luckily I got away, and I decided to fight these Rexes. But then when I swung my wrecking ball of a tail, this happened. Dude, you followed me? Well, that's unfortunate. The Dilo, regrettably, marks tame number 29 out of 153. And I decided to spawn in the snow because I wanted to head towards the aberration area. But after going for an ice bath, I got jumped by a pack of rabid hyenas. But luckily, one of them was a low level and I easily took him out. And with that marking 30 out of 153, we are roughly 20% through all of the dinos in this game. My first morning as a hyena consisted of some ice parkour and consuming an entire dolphin carcass for levels and checking my spreadsheet, where I still have a ton of really weak creatures and I needed to make sure that they got done before it was too late. So I continued heading towards aberration because the Glowpets are among the weakest creatures on the entire list. When I arrived inside the shroom mushroom-filled forest, I found some giant rolling rodents, a charge node, the most heavily guarded artifact of all time, an alien plant that has a tongue, and even Mr. Crab's entire extended family. But I still wasn't sure where to find shinehorns or glowtails. Bulb dogs are pretty much everywhere, and I think featherlights are in the radiation death cave on the other side. But as day 14 came to an end, I came across this aberrant equus. I didn't want to become a bulb dog until I knew where the other glow pets were, but an equus is a pretty decent tame, and it's not necessary to save it for later. I knew what I had to do. So on day 15, I'm an aberrant equestrian. 31 out of 153. There's also some penguins here, which is what I plan to take down after the glow pets. And after making it back to the Ab Island, I found another cave. This one, however, was the Blue Zone. And the Blue Zone is the home of the Shinehorn, but it's also the home of the Ravager, and it wasn't long before I became a sandwich. Luckily, as a horse, I'm a bit faster than the Ravager, and I was able to pretty easily keep my distance while kicking that man in his perfectly chiseled jawline. And after a few more smacks to his ego, the Ravager started running away. The turns have tabled. $32 out of 153. This time I spawned in next to the Revolutionary War, but after exploring for a while and not finding any more glowtail caves, I headed back into the Blue Zone and steamrolled this serpent. 33 out of 153, by the way. With my newfound lack of arms and legs, I went for a slithery swim and headed back over to the Blue Zone. I really wanted to find a Shinehorn, and I wasn't gonna give up just yet. Apparently the snakes in this mod can shoot poison out of their mouth, kinda like this, but my attempt at sniping this glow bug was, well, the glow bug is still alive. Anyways, I didn't find any Shinehorns in here, but I did find this giant desert centipede. Well, that was pathetic. After dealing 2 damage, a 1v1 broke out between the 2 most disturbing creatures on the prehistoric planet. But Titanoboas are surprisingly maneuverable, and I can easily stay behind this dude and avoid being hit. Meet Dora the Arthroplera, dino number 34 out of 153, who is somehow faster underwater than he is on land. Anyways, it took a minute to get there, but I made it back to the Blue Zone, and this time I realized that there's a ramp that goes all the way up to the top. I don't know how I missed this before, but there wasn't really too much up here. Just one, the Iguanodon and his yellow cave drop, but also a Shinehorn. This little guy began running for his meaningless life, and I felt absolutely terrible chasing him down with this abomination of a creature, but it had to be done. He might be able to outrun me, but he can't outrun my spit. 35 out of 153. The rest of the day was pretty productive, but kind of boring because Vincent Van Gogh is very weak. But essentially, I walked on water, scoured the mushroom forest, found a giant rat, and finally found a bulb dog. My attacks deal 24 damage each, which is a lot better than I was expecting, but they take like a full second to wind up. And that means that the bulb dog can basically just run away before I even hit him. But luckily, he got stuck after a few minutes, and the Battle of the Bulb commenced. Oh, I got a little miner helmet for the Shinehorn. Bulbasaur marks dino number 36 out of 153. And I spent the rest of the day endangering Bulbasaur's life until I could respawn in the snow. Stop spawning me here, bro. I got tired of respawning and just decided to walk. I really wanted it to be this one because this was the perfect time to assault a penguin. But right before I reached the snow, my plans changed. There was a Hesperornis here, and they're just as weak as penguins. So I incapacitated this goose-like specimen for dino number 37 out of 153. I decided to name him Ron Swanson and started heading towards the snow. This dude is, well, he's certainly not the fastest, but after a few minutes of pain, I figured out that he has the ability to slide on his stomach, kind of like the penguins do in this mod. So with great honor, I became the first inhabitant of the Cretaceous period to slide into DMs. And it took a while, but I spent the rest of the day on an expedition for the snow. It was pretty uneventful, minus Ronald Megalodon's nephew almost digesting me, but eventually I made it over, and I met up with my cold-loving ancestor. What's going on, dude? Apparently, Hesperornis are like the weakest thing in the entire game. Two damage. This would probably take like 20 minutes at this rate, so I decided to go for a easier target. Honestly, I can't even say that I feel bad because I farm baby penguins for polymer like every time I play this game. 38 out of 153. Oh, I probably shouldn't have went for a baby. So on day 18, I was tasked with raising a baby penguin, who also happened to be, well, myself. I'm not able to use the DM sliding abilities as a penguin, so I spent like 10 minutes as a baby penguin, confused, naked, and afraid, waddling across the desert. But after I put in the hard work and waited for 20 minutes, I developed into a full-grown penguin man, and it was time to explore this scorched earth world. Oh no. Anyways, penguins actually do swim really fast, but I was mainly in the desert looking for a jerboa because I don't want to get stuck on the weak tames later on. So I continued searching and I found a stego body that gives organic polymer and spoiled meat, which is a pretty cool addition to the map. I also witnessed the very first penguin to ever chop down a cactus with its beak. Dude, the cactus texture is like on my penguin forehead. And it took a while. Bro, what is happening right now? But eventually, I found my next victim. I'm really sorry about this, buddy. Rest in pieces, buddy. Also, I just wanted to mention that you can actually make an iceberg as a penguin, which is pretty cool, but I never did it. 39 out of 153. I spent the morning of day 19 getting murdered by various species of sociopath, and then I wasted the entire rest of the day searching for a glowtail cave. I didn't find anything, but I eventually stumbled upon the blue cave again, and I decided to investigate a bit more. There were the usual suspects here trying to use me as a protein bar, but all the way in the back of the cave, I found something. Oh, hello, buddy. A feces connoisseur has appeared, and bro was level 112. When I started this challenge, I listed this as one of the easiest to kill and weakest creatures on the entire map. Like, this man has 5 stars next to his name on my spreadsheet. I was dreading having to use this thing. But what happened next? Well, you can probably guess by what you're watching right now, but this man has more health and hits harder than Fox News. And for a solid 15 minutes, I tried to drive by nuke the insect for an impressive 6 damage, proceeded to run away in fear, maybe heal up a bit, and repeat the process. But he was healing too, and to be honest, I can't compete, bro. This man's a champion. I just realized that when I have to use a dung beetle later, I'm probably gonna have to walk like pretty far to find something that I can actually kill, and it might take several decades. Anyways, day 20 was coming to an end, and I wanted some revenge. So I decided to check the Hunter Cave for a lower level dung beetle. There wasn't much inside at first, but after making it past the first opening and sprinting past Mr. Scorpion, I found a level 12. Oh, I also found some other fine gentlemen. They got the whole mafia. I was removed from the premises. On day 21, I tried to get an easy kill on 2 different pedestrians, but they both ran away. And at this point, I was getting desperate. But after getting physically, emotionally, spiritually, theoretically, financially, intentionally, unintentionally, technically, casually, professionally, irreversibly, literally, and figuratively assaulted by the entire population of the world, well, it was day 22 now. And after experiencing the microscopic edition of World War III, I finally found an ant that didn't have wings. And since he couldn't fly and he was so small, the knockback allowed me to not take any damage. The little guy was a fighter until the very end, and now hopefully he's fighting somewhere in the afterlife. Tame number 40 out of 153. Let me introduce you to Anthony, the ant. And if Anthony hits level 15, he unlocks his wings. But before I could do anything, a bank robber appeared and he held me at gunpoint. I froze, he froze, he was staring deeply into my soul with his thieving eyes. But while he was recovering from that Olympic long jump, I managed to find safety on this rock. And with the kleptomaniac waiting for me to ARK Survival descend from this rock, I needed to come up with a plan. Hey, look, it's Taylor Swift. I had to act quickly before he realized it was just a cardboard cutout. But I had just enough time to get away. No, but actually, I have no idea why that dude just ran away from me, but I'm not complaining. Anyways, I was safe for now. And as an ant, I have the ability to craft an anthill and expand my colony. So I gathered some fiber and set the Guinness World Record for the first ant to chop down a tree. And even though I can't actually farm, like collect wood, it does give me a good amount of XP whenever I hit it. And after a full 9 to 5, I was now level 10, but I needed some meat and hide to make the anthill. So I decided to farm the rest of the levels in a more aggressive manner. Sorry, Bob. The mod maker did a really good job on the first person with this. I look like a menace. Anyways, I now had everything for the anthill, and all that was left was to hit level 15. It's kind of hard to see them, but I now have wings. And my first course of action as a winged being was to make fun of a degenerate. What a loser. Imagine walking. And my second course of action was to come up with a plan. Flyers are pretty rare overall, with less than 30 out of 153 creatures having the ability to fly. Also, the Phoenix doesn't spawn in this mod map, so that one's already not even included in the list. So I decided to not exterminate Mr. Pego here, and instead use this opportunity to reach one of the teleporters, because I can only do that on a flyer. And things are about to get a whole lot more interesting, but first, I needed to expand my colony. And by looking at my challenges, I can also get a color shift costume at level 80 and a hologram costume at level 100, which is pretty cool, but I don't think we'll reach that. Maybe on a different dino with a different challenge. Anyways, I spent the rest of the night heading towards the giant flying spaceship of an island while keeping an eye out for any potential mates. And on day 23, I found one. She was the most gorgeous six-legged being that Anthony had ever laid antennas on. It was love at first sight. But after she laid our eggs, we got jumped by my mortal enemy. Oh no, passive, passive! I tried to whistle her away, but it was too late. Anthony's fiance died a war hero. The Trudon almost got Anthony as well, but luckily we managed to make it out, and my unborn children will live to see another day. So I continued towards the alien spaceship, but I may have underestimated Anthony's stamina-related abilities. As I approached the flying island, my stamina was getting lower and lower. And just before I arrived, the tank was out of gas. But luckily, ants don't have torpors, so instead of passing out, it just kind of slowed me down a lot. And even though it took like 43 leap years, I eventually reached my destination. It seemed pretty safe up here, and I decided to start a family and carry on our legacy. I'm not really sure how many ants are supposed to hatch from these eggs, but in real life, it's like a lot, right? I don't know. But in ARK, apparently it's 2. But the maturation on those 2 ants is insanely fast. They grow up so fast. I named the mentally challenged one Billy. Aw, he's stupid. And his brother is named Timmy. I then brought Billy and Timmy on their very first vacation into the giant teleporter room. And after teaching the younglings about the legacy of Wingnut 65, I needed to decide which portal I was going to enter. The left portal leads to the Genesis 2 post-apocalyptic wasteland. There's aliens in there. The middle one here leads to the space biome with giant flying whales. And the right one is the Genesis Sanctuary, which is pretty normal, but it does have like the Genesis creatures and stuff. I don't know what's gonna happen when I enter though, so I needed to set up an anthill as a respawn point before I left. I was a few levels off, but after some lumberjack related activities, I was now qualified for construction. Kind of looks like a termite mound, except for the little side part right here. And with the respawn point in place, it was time. I'm definitely not going into the wasteland as an ant, and being the first ant on the moon, I mean, it would be pretty cool, but I decided to go with the sanctuary. And immediately got spawn trapped by nocturnal hooligans. Oh, help! Billy and Timmy didn't make it through, but when I retreated back, they both instantly got flung into the sanctuary with those Trudons, and if I didn't go back in to save them, well, I would be widowed and childless. I cannot allow that to happen. Luckily, everyone made it safely out of the spawn, and we flew up top by these patchies to regroup. I think we need to expand our colony, and after some waiting around, we're not going to discuss how this child was conceived, but we've got another egg. 5 minutes later, we now have Timmy, Jimmy, Billy, and Bartholomew. He's special. I realize that the 2 new additions to the family aren't as gifted as their siblings. What, they don't have wings? So I left them all behind while I was exploring and trying to figure out what to do. And on a side note, I found a tech hover sail in this Genesis drop, and I forgot how overpowered everything is in Genesis 2. Anyways, I returned to my anthill only to find a home invader, and he was, well, invading. Only the winged survived, and we had to evacuate ASAP. But with nowhere else to go, we explored the sanctuary, and we just kept circling the area, searching for potential victims to turn into. We didn't find much. There was an otter in the lake, but the only thing here in this sanctuary that isn't in the base island map, from what I can tell, is this Maywing. And he was stuck on the tree, so I decided to go for it and send in the squad. He wasn't stuck on the tree. So you're seeing clips of me just exploring right now because I had my recording paused while I was taking notes for the script, and I thought I was safe on top of a rock. But what you're about to see me jump to, well, this is what happened. Oh, where'd he come from? My entire family was shattered, and I was alone once again. I was getting frustrated, and I just wanted to be something stronger at this point. Ants are not it. So as the sun rose on day 25, I snuck up on this Peppa Pig and dug my pinchers into his ankle. That man sprinted away at the speed of light. So I tried to recruit a different volunteer and got the same result. Even this random moose was able to scale a rock and do hardcore parkour just to escape an ant bite. Bro is an athlete. Everything here is faster than me. So I said my goodbyes to Perry the platypus and teleported back to the mainframe. It takes so long to travel anywhere as an ant, but after spending half the day on the road, or in the air I guess, I found another parasaur. And this one was made by Boston Dynamics. Since he was in this crater, it would be very difficult for him to run away. But then I noticed a Meganera nearby. I think this is a downgrade, but I gotta do it at some point. Whoa, where did you guys come from? Bro, that's not fair. It was actually really easy, probably because I've leveled up a lot. And after finishing off the rest of the Dragonfly platoon, Megabyte here marks Dino number 41 out of 153. There's not much I can actually fight with this, but I am faster than the ant was. So I decided to try and take out Mr. Parasaur. This bystander stole my kill, but there were some other dragonflies here as well. Unfortunately for me, however, this mod doesn't allow me to breed or even level up as one. This was already getting annoying, but across the water, I reunited with Peppa Pig. He managed to get himself stuck on a tree, and I was gonna solve his problem, just not in the way he probably wants. But then I accidentally demolished the tree. Peppa Pig was about to escape, but then he committed the fatal error of entering the water. Phiomias are absolutely horrendous swimmers, and despite my stamina levels being similar to a chain smoker, the dude was moving at dangerously low speeds. Dangerous for him anyway. And as a Meganera, Megabyte is able to regain stam in midair. And let's just say, Peppa Pig is no longer with us. Peppa Pig is alive again, and that marks tame number 42 out of 153. I wasn't planning on staying a pig for very long, so I tried to instantly go for this level 8 parasaur on the beach, and I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for Carnold, who stole my kill. And then a few seconds later, he turned me into bacon. It was a sad day for Peppa Pig. Phiomias are pretty bad at everything, but if you were wondering what the actual use is for these guys in a normal playthrough, well, what you want to do is farm some stemberries, and then you have to shove at least 26 of them into his esophagus. And step 3, and this is where he's very talented, big profit. Yeah, that's literally their use. A dung beetle's hero. Anyways, I decided to 1v1 Bowser to the death. And unfortunately, it was my death. But it's a video game, so I resurrected, and in the nearby forest, I found a Pteranodon inside of a rock. Wow, you're really stuck between a rock and a hard place there, huh, buddy? I could actually hit him, but I didn't want to do that just yet, because there was another parasaur nearby, and after a very long pursuit, he eventually got stuck on a rock. Rocks are low-key carrying me. And Peppa Pig absolutely decimated that man. 43 out of 153. There's still some weaker things left, but I wanted to try and work my way up to something huge this time. But I also wanted to grab as many creatures as possible on the way there. But anyways, Perry the Parasaur here has the basic bite, just like everybody else. Makes him an expert berry farmer, by the way. But they have another move too, one that's actually really useful in PvP. They can ping for enemies, and it seems I've found one. That's my mortal enemy right there. Anyways, I continued along, minding my own business, when the entire Thieves Guild tried to steal my life. I was gonna just run away, but I decided to fight back. Unfortunately, I perished. But after my reincarnation, I pumped some levels into melee and swam across the river to take on Bowser. And once I arrived, I initiated civil warfare. But then I realized I could level up my melee some more. Bro, why are you celebrating? This is war. You want to celebrate death? But after Perry regained sentience, the battle commenced, and it was gonna be a close one. And as an oversized tortoise, I spawned in staring at this rock. But that marks 44 out of 153. Unfortunately, Bowser was unbearably slow. But across the valley, I spotted a potential lover. I'm going as fast as I can. Did I just bark? After 3 more weeks of high-speed travel, I finally arrived, but they were both males. Don't you guys have like a mother or something? I then showcased my immaculate swimming capabilities to cross this river, and I saw some beaver dams in the distance. But then Mr. Sarko showed up, and I can't run from literally anything, so my only choice was to stay and fight. Turtles are really tanky and decently strong, so we did have a decent shot, but after a few more bites and a very bloody Sarko, it wasn't enough. I spent the rest of the night traveling at the speed of dark. Get it? Because it's the opposite of the speed of light, which is like fast and stuff.
That was the worst joke ever.
Yeah, moving along, I found a female Tortuga on the beach, and after some baby turtle making activities, I then saw the Sarko that brutally murdered me last time, staring at me from across the water, menacingly, and I expected him to just chill there, but then he started swimming over. But this time, I had backup. Let's get him, honey. This Florida man here is tame number 44 out of 153. And after walking along the beach and home-wrecking Bob's entire extended family, there was one tame that I really wanted to try out. And I'm not gonna say what it is just yet. So I navigated the river all the way to the ocean because Sarkos swim way faster than they walk. I was heading back over to Extinction, and not because I wanted to go back in there, but because of what happened to Chopstick earlier. It was time to get some revenge. So after swimming a triathlon and feeding my glasses skin to Sid the Sloth, press E to feed glasses skin? 0.3%. So that means I can tame him. After Sid the Sloth finished eating my clothes, I continued my search for a Deinonychus. I'm pretty sure I'm in the right area, but I searched for the rest of the day and these dudes are extinct. I couldn't find them anywhere. And to make things worse, this happened. How did I die to a hyena? On day 28, I spawned back in my swamp hometown, and I tried to take out this Baryonyx. And I was doing a lot more damage per hit than he was, but despite my best efforts, I got deleted. And when I made it back, he was gone. It seems that Barry has committed a hit and run. So I kept searching the swamp, and I do still want a Deinonychus, and you'll see why later. But since I can't find one over by Extinction right now, I might as well knock out some of these swamp tames. And the first victim was very similar to myself. Seems kinda like a downgrade, to be honest. My time spent as Leonardo DiCaprio didn't last long, because I found a Beelzebufo? I never know if I'm pronouncing that right. And after a few drive-by bites and a couple teeth to the face, Snoop Frog marked tame number 46 out of 153. Well, actually 47, because I had him on the list 2 times for some reason. I'm not really sure how that happened. But as a frog, I spent some time hippity hopping around the swamp, found a Dillo, licked that man to death, pause, and then proceeded to smite down this Dimetrodon. I licked him too. And this little Spino from Wish marks tame number 48 out of 153. But I kind of regret not doing it before Snoop Frog because, well, the dude is slower than Bowser was. I'm mentally preparing for how annoying this is about to be. After wading through the swamp for a bit, I came to the conclusion that I already defeated everything here except for the racers. So I decided to start a fight with this Sarko, with the sole purpose of getting ball to death to respawn somewhere else. Bro, are you not gonna fight back? But then this random piranha just ate 94,000 calories of pure Sarko and still had room for the Metrodon flavored dessert. Well, that works, I guess. So I spawned back in the south. And it wasn't long before I found this degenerate right here. So I pumped my health a little bit and went to war. The Trudon tried to flank, but luckily the Metrodons have a pretty big hitbox, and Trudon get knocked back pretty bad. Let's just say it wasn't a good day to be Mr. Trudon. And before transforming, I fought the rest of his extended family to the death as well. We're making the prehistoric world a better place, one extermination at a time. Guys, I have bad news. I've become the very thing that I hate the most. And in addition to being dino number 49 out of 153, the Trudon is fast. And in this mod, I also have the ability to use night vision, which does exactly what you would expect night vision to do. But I also have a radar vision, which sends these pulses and highlights all the wild creatures, just like a tech helmet or the awesome spyglass mod. For example, this level 120 Dilo right here is highlighted, and there's no way that I would have saw him otherwise. I'm comboing up right now. Dude, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but it's kind of fun to be a Trudon. I spent the rest of the night running around like a menace, and I was trying to decide what to do. Scorched Earth is right over there, and I could easily cycle through all the creatures, except for wyverns and rock elementals probably. But I also kind of want to breed an army of these guys and take on something massive. But on day 29, after being enlightened by this yellow beam coming from the multiverse, I decided to go ahead and knock out some Scorched Earth creatures. There's so many mid-tier things left, and I basically need to be defeating almost 2 per day to beat this challenge. So when I came across this Daedon in the desert, it was on. The sheer dexterity of my Troodon form was impressive. I was able to effectively avoid all of this man's pig-like advances and just use my ability to combo up hits. But when I ran out of stamina, well, it became a whole different story. I thought I was done for, but instead of chasing me down, he just slowly walked towards me like a killer from a horror movie. Bro, can you stop being so creepy? And it took longer than I'm willing to admit, but I eventually realized that he was just out healing all of the damage that I could put out. And yeah, this man's basically invincible right now. Bro, I just realized that the Troodon lair that I can craft is literally just someone's entire ribcage. When I ordered a rack of ribs, this is not what I meant. I then tried to go for this Kintro by my base, but I was about to destruct. So after escaping his spiky advances, I decided to go after the Camelsaurus, MrMeola. The fight was definitely pretty close, you know, a real nail biter. But I inevitably came out on top, and I let MrMeola stepfather here avenge his death, because I can't allow wild Troodons to exist in this world. Anyway, Donald Hump was the 50th president of the ARK, out of 153 that is. And these dudes actually are pretty fast, but the second their kneecap touches water, they become an inanimate object, which is kind of ironic considering half of their body contains water. Anyway, I didn't plan to stay at Morellatops long, and after mating with the other Morellatops that just ended my life as a Troodon, we accidentally assaulted his brother. But after that, we easily took down the Kintro for tame number 51 out of 153. And after making it back to the desert, I claimed the Morellatops that I just bred with Donald Hump a minute ago. I didn't know that they became unclaimed like that after you switch, and this actually could be really helpful later, although I am gonna try to avoid doing that if possible, because it is a little bit, you know, cheaty-ish. Anyways, an oversized praying mantis showed up and executed my Morellatops brethren, but the Kintro was super strong, with the left trigger tail swipe having insane knockback. And a few minutes and a few tail swipes later, Manny the Mantis has entered the chat. That's tame number 52 out of 153, by the way, and we're officially over a third of the way there. As a Mantis, I had the ability to do the regular slash thing, but I also had this jump attack thing, which does a lot of damage. But the coolest thing about a Mantis by far is its ability to use human tools and weapons. Like, you can dual wield clubs and just knock dudes out in PvP. Also, if you do that, you can set your Mantis to only target conscious targets, and then it'll just stand over their body and wait on them to wake up and then knock them out again, and it's hilarious. But you can also use an ascendant pickaxe and like pump melee, and then it can farm metal for you and stuff. It's pretty insane. I definitely wanted to get my hands on some weapons to try that out, so I decided to head for a nearby green supply drop. And after slaying a colony of Billy and Timmy's ancestors, well, there were no weapons. So I scuba dove off the cliff and began heading towards a nearby blue supply drop, where I saw a pack of Dilos teaming up on a poor defenseless Moschops. I could help him, but nah. The blue drop was one of the best I've ever seen in my 5,000 hours on ARK. It was a blueprint for a compass.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
On day 30, I realized that I actually do have access to Ingrams. But then I also realized I can't actually craft them. So after discovering the Genesis Swamp, that's a big beehive, I looted another useless supply drop, and I came across a female mantis in the desert. It would be nice to expand my tribe, but in real life, after mating, well, female mantis, they use these here giant claws, and they literally decapitate their husband. Like, okay, look at this. Do praying mantis kill mates after mating? Yes, female mantises often eat their maters after or during mating. Like, what, bro? She's an attractive female and all, but I'm not trying to die. I know your plan. It's not happening. Anyways, it would be pretty cool to get a weapon for this guy, but I don't want to waste a ton of time running around looting drops when I could just do this. Tame I'm number 53 out of 153. Allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Mr. Chris P. Bacon. And at this point, I've already cleared most of the scorched earth creatures. I'm pretty sure there's a griffin scar inside the desert over there, but I do want to save them for later. So I convinced this dude with the massive spine to slice me up because there's one creature that I forgot about in the swamp. Where are you, Barry? I didn't see any baryonyx, but after scouting around for a few minutes, Barry the Baryonyx marked tame number 54 out of 153. Exactly 99 more to go. So I decided to spawn back in the swamp to breed an army and take down a racer. And after a quick mating session and farming this poor, defenseless, unconscious snail for his chitin, I made a nest for our new child. And then I AFK'd in base for like 5 minutes while waiting on him to hatch. I raised my child right, and I taught him how to hunt for food and build shelter out of raw meat and snail. And before I knew it, he was all grown up. So Barry, his loving wife named Bart, and their child Bartholomew set out to accomplish their lifetime goal. I think I might have over-prepared for this. Yeah, maybe just a little. Mom, can we get a Bronto? Bronto at home was dino number 55 out of 153, but I don't really have the patience to walk around at sub 1 mile per hour speeds, and there were some saber teeth here tag teaming a Kintro, so they got pub stomped by the Bronto from Wish. And Mufasa here marks dino number 56 out of 153. At this point, the day was coming to an end, and after swatting some dragonflies for experience, Day 32 began, and before the sun could even rise for the day, I had already made the world 2% a better place. My goal was to head north and scout for some Deinonychus again, but it appears they're still on vacation because nobody was home. I'm actually starting to question if this was the same spot that I found them before, but I remember that enforcers can climb too, and that's actually why I wanted the Deinonychus in the first place. So after triggering our robot overlord, he was hitting hard, I witnessed a Tyrannosaurus Rex skydiving without a parachute. Bro just fell from the ozone layer. And after some mechanical engineering, R2-D2 here marks tame number 57 out of 153. And as a robotics major, I tuck my feet in when I jump for some reason, and I have the standard ground slash attack thing. But these guys also have two other super cool abilities. First of all, I can defy all laws of physics, all laws of thermodynamics, and literally teleport. It's a great way to ambush peasants. But also, and this is the main reason I have this guy, is because they can climb on any surface, even upside down. Don't mind me, just chilling on a rock. And now it's time for the main event. So I began my journey through the jungle and towards the giant Genesis swamp trees in the distance. And eventually, I found myself in Shrek's hometown. There was an artifact of growth right here outside some hillbilly's house, and right front and center was the big tree with other trees growing on top of it. Treeception. And you guys probably know where this is going. I started climbing, and I made it higher and higher until I reached my peak in life. And this is where the Bloodstalker lives. I had a nightmare about one of these guys last night, but it was time to face my fears and challenge one to a duel. But once the fight commenced, all integrity went out the window. He called in backup, and it was now 3-on-1. I was outnumbered, and I tried my best, but I didn't succeed. And now I've officially hit rock bottom. I was determined though. Bloodstalkers are super creepy, but they're also super cool, and I wanted one. So I spent the rest of the night pulverizing innocent civilians for level up. Until about halfway through day 33, where I eventually reached the swamp, and then I got kidnapped. What? Dude! Nah, there's no way someone lives here. Imagine you open your front door and then your living room just becomes one with the swamp. I began the climb of a lifetime, and after sneaking up from the bottom of a tree branch, I was a high enough level for this brand new ability, a stun attack. Okay, bye. And I found myself face to face with the twins who assaulted me yesterday. It's still 2v1, but I'm a lot stronger now. Yeah, not so tough now, huh? Okay. But I still got that first kill. And now, I'm Spider-Man. 58 out of 153. These guys can shoot webs out of their web shooting glands and swing on them like Spider-Man. It's one of the coolest movement mechanics in the game, and you basically have two different webs that you can use to maneuver around. One is controlled with the left trigger and one is controlled with the right trigger, so you can kind of like anchor yourself in one spot while you swing from the other side. And it's a little bit weird, but if you master this, well, you can basically just swing around the map without touching the ground, and it is so fun. And speaking of it being fun, well, I haven't used one of these guys in like over a year, and I kind of forgot about the challenge for a minute there. Yeah, I swung around the map for the rest of the day. And as nightfall approached, I found myself at the entrance of a giant snow palace. And after rightfully claiming my throne as King of Spider, and then webbing and consuming an unfortunate club penguin, day 33 came to an end. And since I was already in the snow, I decided why not work through every tame in this biome like I did with the swamp. And right next to me, there was a conveniently placed woolly rhino that already was bloody. So, in 3 spider-like slashes later, I was now tame number 59 out of 153. Rhinos hit okay damage standing still, but when they start charging, 300, 600, as you can see, it hits pretty insane numbers, and they're really fast once they get going as well. And with that charge damage, these guys are actually the #1, hands down, best tame in the entire game for fighting bosses. They just have to actually be ridden. So if you have tribe mates and you have like a mutated rhino line, you can use like 5 of these and take down pretty much any boss in the game. But without riders, Rexes and Theries are much better, of course. Anyways, I made it back to the snow and I tried to take on this Megatherium, but he hits like a truck. I then respawned into death, but after regaining control over my life, I decided to take out these direwolves. Which marks Dino number 60 out of 153. In this mod, direwolves can howl and convince other direwolves to join their pack. No mating necessary. So I was scouting to try and create the ultimate direwolf army, but after running around for 10 minutes, I had yet to find a single one. I think I killed them all with the rhino. There was a snow owl here, which is super cool, but I was kind of saving the flyers for later. But then, after walking around for another 5 minutes, I finally found one. So I gaslit the fellow canine into joining my tribe, and apparently I can only do that with wolves that are a lower level than I am. The higher levels see through my gaslighting. Oh, did I just mate with you? I didn't mean to do that. My newest tribe member now had a purple aura, and I think that means that she's pregnant. It was an accidental pregnancy. But after finding another snow owl that had become one with a rock, we came across a level 20 Megatherium. And with the lack of direwolves, this seems like a solid upgrade. The dude was getting absolutely destroyed, and it didn't even seem like he tried to fight me back, so yeah. Bane of Arthropods here marks Dino 61 out of 153. And these guys have a deep-seated hatred for bugs, hence the name Bane of Arthropods. They hate them so much that when they fight any form of insect, they go Super Saiyan and do like triple the damage. And this makes them the #1 draft pick if you're trying to take down the Broodmother. But without the bug buff, they're just kind of mid, and Rexes are pretty much just better for everything else. Anyways, now that I was a Megatherium, I had an idea. I didn't want to fight other snow stuff and downgrade right now, so I'm gonna save that for later. Right now, I wanted to see if I could get the bug buff by fighting a crab. I'm not really sure if that works, but it's basically a giant bug. Okay, probably not, but I'm still gonna fight one. So on day 35, after steamrolling an aberrant flavored dodo, I came to the river, and I used this random fish that tried to swim on land to heal up and prepare for war. Hello, Mr. Krabs. Well, that was anticlimactic. The Carcinos is tame number 62 out of 153, but he is a lot more than just that. Mr. Krabs is one of the coolest creatures in this entire game. Not only can he hit him with the right, but he can hit him with the left or with both. He can also casually jump 15 times his height, meaning he was born in the wrong time. All that potential of being a basketball superstar? Wasted. But that is still not all. And the best part about these guys, in my opinion, well, this requires no words. Yeah, I don't really have anything to say about that. Anyways, I high jumped and crab walked around the Aberration Island towards the Radiation Cave. Aberration creatures don't get affected by radiation, so with a crab, I should be able to survive in there. Quick edit, that's actually not true for all Aberration creatures. I just thought it was at the time. But then when I arrived, Mr. Krabs is fat. No matter how much I buttered up my crab legs, there's no way I'm fitting in there. So I crab walked back over to the river and I tried to become this basilisk, but he must have knew what I was plotting and he wouldn't come out of the ground. Why can't I hit him? So I decided to take my anger out on these nearby ravagers, but then I got ravaged instead. I did want to get that basilisk though, because they're pretty cool and he actually should be able to fit in the radiation cave. So I found this innocent bystander, abducted him, brought him all the way across the Pacific and to the river where I found Mr. Slytherin. And sure enough, once I dropped off this very delectable meal, Mr. Basilisk came out for dinner. I waited patiently as he finished his meal, you know, don't want to be rude or anything, but once the Lystro had gone extinct, it was time. I was doing a lot more damage than he was, and I really thought I had this in the bag, but for some reason, this man had an astronomical amount of health. He's not even bloody yet. The blue blood that was running through my crab veins began to surface, and after he started using his poison shot, well, Mr. Krabs passed away. Well, that didn't work. So on day 36, I picked up a tortoise and smashed it over the head of a heathen, and I proceeded to pick up another tortoise, and I used this one to beat down a cyborg. Long story short, I needed some levels. And after consuming about 2,500 tons of raw aberrant meat to heal up, I borrowed this Ninja Turtle and headed back over to my gravesite. Mr. Slytherin was eager for his turtle breakfast, but instead I slayed that man right in front of the basilisk and declared war. This time I was doing almost 200 damage per hit, and I had 4,000 health. For some reason, one of my fellow crustaceans decided to come over and help out, but I didn't want his help, so I just deleted them both. And this serpent here marks tame number 62 out of 153. Basilisks are pretty cool. They have a ton of weight and they can actually go underground for travel. And they also have this poison spit, which I use to gas a dodo. But after becoming a sea serpent for the day to cross the river, I spent the rest of the day slithering towards the red zone cave and leveling up a bit. And on day 37, after showing off my festivity, it was time to enter the scariest part of Aberration. Well, after I got unstuck from the rock. And apparently I still take radiation damage while I'm in the cave. I'm pretty sure I need to be something from the red zone or an aberrant variant of an island creature in order to be immune to it. But regardless, I didn't have much time to be alive. So I quickly smited this rock drake out of existence. And that marks tame number 63 out of 153. Can't believe I still have 90 left, and half of them are like impossible. But anyways, the rock drake is one of my favorite creatures in this entire game. And I know I keep saying that, but like, I just really like Aberration. But when I arrived at the radiation cave, not only was I too plus size to enter, but I literally got stuck in the entrance. Bro, I can't move. I really wanted to breed an army of drakes to take down the Reaper Queen in there. My dreams have been shattered. It's gonna be almost impossible to find something small enough to fit in here that can defeat a Reaper Queen, but I guess that's a problem for future Juztify, because right now I was gonna take advantage of having a flyer. Well, kind of. But a flyer that can actually fight, such as the rock drake. So I made my way over to Skull Island, and there's actually Magmasaurs in here. And a rock drake is the perfect opportunity to check them off the list. The fight was going great at first. I was biting and dodging like a professional. But then one of Mr. Magma's buddies show up and he blasted me with lava. I got evaporated. But after regaining life, I grabbed this explorer note to level up my melee, farmed the rest of the population to get some more levels, and headed back into the belly of the beast. The one I was fighting last time was level 104, but over in the back, this poor little inexperienced fella was all alone. Any last words? Well, that was easy. I also grabbed his egg and ate it right in front of his family for good measure. And my brand new Magmasaur marks tame number 64 out of 153. Oh, I probably could have used that to get a wyvern. I decided to spawn my brand new Magmasaur in the snow, because irony is kind of funny. I was gonna finish off all of the snow tan, and if I farm metal and smelt it inside my lava inventory, I can actually use the metal ingots as fuel to shoot fireballs. But that's really not necessary when I can just do this. Ladies and gentlemen, meet Katy Perry. Tame number 65 out of 153. She really likes to roar. I wanted to step up the pace a bit and clear out the snow. So the Mammoth was 66 out of 153. And then Mr. Megaloceros was 67 out of 153. I needed a bit of an army to take on a Calicotherium. So I proposed to my fiance here. Grabbed this explorer note to level up, farmed some trees for materials and levels, used my wife and our child as bait to get away from these direwolves, sorry about that, and I came across an Ovis. Now, these guys are probably the worst tame in the entire game that's actually rideable, but on the other hand, they're extremely rare and really hard to find. If I didn't take this opportunity now, I don't know when I'm gonna find it again. So, reluctantly, I made the worst decision of my life. The Ovis marked creature number 68 out of 153, and I spawned into death 2 times. I already knew these things were really weak when I went into this, but what I didn't know, however, was the stamina on this thing. It is indescribably bad. Like, for example, I'm full stamina right now, right? Okay, so now watch me run. And now I'm lower than Flowrider. And that's bad enough. But for whatever reason, these things regain stamina way slower than anything else in the game. This is gonna be, well, this is gonna be awful. There's barely anything else left weak enough to actually fight, and all of it is just gonna run away and be faster than me. I can't believe I'm about to say this right now, but let's see if we can find a Pego. Please come back. 4 stamina bars later, why does it regen so slow? I farmed a Lifestro for levels 7. Yeah, this might take a while. Wait, the stamina runs out way slower in the water. I guess that's something. So basically, it takes 30 seconds to regen stam and less than 10 to run out. So going anywhere takes way too long and everything is faster than it. The odds are looking pretty bad right now. And for the next 5 days, well, let's just say they were the most annoying and the most boring ARK days I've ever had the displeasure of experiencing in my entire life. But you guys seem to love watching me suffer, so go grab some popcorn and get comfortable, I guess. I'll try not to rage quit. Life as an Ovis was rough, and I don't know if I'm ever gonna make it, but I'm not ready to give up just yet. And at this point, it had been 3 entire days, but I just leveled up and continued on. I almost uninstalled the game, but at the start of day 44, it finally happened. I was swimming along the river because for some reason that's way better on stamina, and I spotted an otter on the beach. I started attacking him just like I did with everything else, not expecting much, but he actually did fight back, and he was hitting harder than me. It was gonna be really close. Oh yes, finally! That was the sound of pure relief. It's about time, man. That was terrible. But Hairy Otter here marks tame number 69 out of 153. Look at his little whiskers in first person. I found another Deinonychus, so I kept a mental note of that as I'm not going anywhere near that psychopath that's a hairy otter, and instead, I went fishing. Otters actually have the ability to harvest pearls from sea creatures, which is very useful in the early game if you're trying to get some pearls. I was also doing about 18 damage to this Lystro, which isn't bad at all compared to what I just went through. Anyways, I started heading inland. Hey, what's going on, dude? And I really hate that I'm about to say this, but I was heading towards the Hunter Cave to try and take down a dung beetle. I can already smell him from here. And after swimming through this disgusting river and trying not to question what made the water look like that, I eventually made it to the hunter cave. And the main reason I'm going for a dung beetle is because that if I don't do the worst creatures soon, I'm gonna run out of dinos that they can actually fight and I might get stuck. Basically, it's now or never. And once I made it inside and snuck past this spider, since they don't aggro otters, I guess, I put this disgusting specimen in a spin cycle. I'm not ready for this. Racy's Feces was an absolutely despicable creature, but he was tame number 70 out of 153, and he wasn't anywhere near as bad as I thought. While I was munching on this tree, I noticed that the basic attack has no cooldown, and I can like rapid fire bite. This is already a massive W over the Ovis, and I actually managed to send this Dilo into the afterlife without even leveling up very much. I think we can work with this, but the main issue is, well, I might be the slowest living organism to ever have the displeasure of walking this planet. And what's about to happen is I basically slowly walk across the map for 2.5 hours. I'm assuming you probably don't want to see that. I don't know, maybe there's something wrong with you.
Maybe there's something wrong with you.
If it's me, then society made me that way.
So just know, this is pretty much all that happened. But on day 49, I found Harambe Jr. This wasn't new. I actually did find a few of these guys in the past couple days, but they all ran away. But this time, however, was different. I initiated insect warfare, and Harambe Jr. managed to escape my dung-filled grasp the first time. But after tracking him down using my lack of smell, I eventually managed to corner him against rock bottom. Oh, it's over for you now, buddy. We did it, boys. Harambe Jr. marks tame number 71 out of 153. And I bet you can guess who Harambe Sr. is. Harambe Sr. can craft weapons and structures, and I'm saving him later for something special. Because right now, you're probably wondering how a Mesopithecus is any better than a dung beetle. And the answer to your question, well, it's not. It's a lot worse, actually. But I have a plan. I just needed to make it to the snow. So I set out. I got deleted about 14 times, actually. But on day 53, I found this Pokeball. He was curled up in defense mode, which means he takes 75% less damage or something like that. I think the scorpions were attacking him. So now I just need to finish him off without somebody brutally murdering me. Easy enough. So after throwing my feces for a massive 0 damage, I started monking that man for 8 damage a pop. And a whole lot of smacks later, they see me rolling. For tame number 72 out of 153. By the way, I obviously wasn't looking for this. I was going to the snow to find the snow owl that was stuck in a rock earlier, but now that won't be necessary. Because now I'm a Dodic, and at this time, we're gonna see just how powerful we can get. I might even try to go all the way. There's still a couple really difficult ones like the glowtail that I can't seem to find, but with the Ovis, dung beetle, and Mesopithecus all taken out, we're looking pretty solid. So on day 54, after getting absolutely ravaged, I rolled in first person somehow. I believe this is not an accurate representation of what that would look like. Anyway, I crossed the Extinction River, farmed 459 stone in one hit, fed it to Mr. Sid, the sloth. Oh, that was finger looking good, huh? I tamed Sid, proceeded to abandon Sid in the wild, and I mined this walking rock. Fred Flintstone was tame number 73 out of 153. So I decided to pay Sid the Sloth a visit, and he left a present for me. 41 sand? His gift was so despicable that it deserved death. But Sid decided not to fight me back since he was tamed, and I'm not gonna hit a defenseless sloth man. So I decided to get an attempted murder charge instead on his stepbrother. Look at his face, bro. What kind of freaky face are you looking at me with? After that monstrosity of an expression, Sid's brother started booking it. And then 5 seconds later, he came back, slashed my tires, and then he started booking it again. I don't know why, but he just kept running away and then coming back until eventually I ended him. And I then stood on top of his lifeless, crystallized corpse to assert my dominance. My dominance in intelligence, because this guy is, well, he's not the brightest. Sid the Sloth was slow in both movement speed and mental capacity, but he was also TAM number 74 out of 153. And as day 54 was coming to an end, so was Sid the Sloth's legacy. I tried to quickly take out this iguanodon, but a robot disguised as a raptor stole my spotlight, so I settled for this Patchy. 75 out of 153. And on day 55, I spotted a massive seagull in the distance. This triggered some flashbacks to when I was a kid at the beach and a seagull stole one of my Cheetos. True story. So I charged up my ram attack and sprinted over. No, don't fly away. Oh, I perished. I deceased. I continued on though, and after some world exploration, I found myself a wife. And my wife humbly joined me on my journey to eviscerate this Dimorphodon. I honestly thought it would be pretty easy, especially with my loving wife by my side, but man, I have never been so wrong in my life. Because after this first hit, well, I basically never touched the guy again. Patchies have awful hit registration. Dimorphodons have a tiny hitbox, and they basically fly in the stupidest path possible where you can't hit them and they can't hit you. I sat here for like 10 minutes trying to fight this guy, and I tried jump shotting, I tried using the rock as the high ground, I tried using my rage from witnessing him delete Mrs. Patch, but nothing was working. So I decided to just leave. But then, well, not only did he follow me, but his ex-wife did too. So now I have two divorced winged psychopaths that are invincible chasing me down. Good times. We eventually came across this Diplo, and somehow his knockback threw me into the air to get a couple hits off. And this was a pretty cool strategy at first, until I got locked in a knockback loop and I couldn't move. I can't move, bro. But eventually, the Degenerodons hurt the Diplo's ego and made him run away to his mother. This was my chance to dip. Whoa, I'm sorry. But they instantly aggroed me again. Really? So I decided to swim across the ocean towards the Lost Island in hopes of losing my stalkers. But they were willing to go to the ends of the earth to just be in my mere presence. Luckily, Mr. Manta Ray ended it all. I'm not even mad that I died, to be honest. On day 56, I tried to take down some seagulls again. And I was able to keep up with him for a few landings until he crossed the water. And over on the other side, well, I lost him, but I also found an Archaeopteryx. I forgot these guys existed, but essentially they eat chitin for some reason and are completely useless in most cases. But I did manage to use one as a parachute one time to steal wyvern eggs in my beating Ark with no engrams at level 1 video. You should go watch it. Anyways, this dude was just as annoying as the Dimorphodons and was barely fast enough to keep his life, at least for about 10 minutes, but in the end, I reigned victorious. This organic parachute marks TAM number 76 out of 153. But for some reason, I'm not able to actually use the glide ability. So I'm a flightless bird, a miniature ostrich, and it was super foggy. But I tested my combat skills against this very fine gentleman. And yeah, this is gonna be another rough one. So I decided to use my backup plan, the one I was originally going for with the Mesopithecus. I guess we're going to the snow. So after a very, very long journey, there he is. Somebody help! I had reached my destination, but so did this Yudi and his goons. That took so long, man. Eventually, I had made it back. But then this happened. Whoa, the rock just... Oh, it's back again. Oh no, the owl got out. Bro, am I being trolled right now? We have quantum rocks, apparently. The snow owl was free, and when I fought him fair and square, well, it didn't end well for me. That was the entire reason that I was comfortable with becoming this thing. So now, without another backup plan, well, things aren't looking good. I spent the rest of the night searching for the Pteranodon that was also stuck in a rock in the middle of the jungle, but I couldn't remember where he was. So on day 58, I went on multiple long romantic walks along the beach, until inevitably, I was harassed by the leader of the Thieves Guild. That face is the dredges of society right there. I feel gross just looking at myself right now. But Tax Collector was tamed number 77 out of 153. And now I'm a lot faster, thank God. So I wasted no time and decapitated a nearby heathen, but I wasn't able to harvest any meat. I thought I was going crazy, so I tried to farm some berries just to make sure, and yeah, they do eat meat. So instead of that, I tried to pickpocket a different heathen, but the dude had no possessions to his name. So I stole his life. I actually can't harvest meat, dude. I'm gonna starve. The Pego is actually not bad at all, but he does have some eating disorders. So I'm gonna need to make this quick before the hunger kicks in. Why do I like freeze mid-air when I'm trying to jump? I really wanted to spawn further north, so I convinced some nearby civilians to help me out. Can somebody please explain to me why the West 3 spawn region is the entire left side of the map? It's massive. And also, why I spawn in the exact same spot on the very bottom left, the furthest possible from where I want to be. Thanks, ARK. So I decided to bite the bullet, and I took a brisk walk across the solar system, and I was looking for a scorpion, because that should be pretty doable as a Pego. But instead, this happened. Oh no. Come on, regen the stamina, bro. Do you want to die? I'll take that as a yes. So I reevaluated my list, and there were a few more decent options. So after grabbing this explorer note, I spent half the day trekking the earth. I bit this pacifist's forearm, and after almost breaking my kneecaps falling off this ledge, I arrived at the Hunter Cave once again. But for some reason, this time, nobody was home. Hello? It's the tax collector. So I helped myself to their underground library, and after reading some lore about my arch nemesis Leonardo DiCaprio, pumping my melee to 500, reading some horror stories about aquatic menaces, and further pumping my Pego bench press to over 600 pounds, I finally found one. Oh, there he is. Wait, hold on. One at a time, bro. There's like 6 of you. This isn't fair. The lead spider was level 104, but after those 3 explorer notes, I was pretty beefy. Okay, I'm hitting hard. The fight was really close, but if you have arachnophobia, then I need to warn you now. Stay away. I'm just kidding. It's a video game, and you're literally not even the one that's playing it. I think you'll be alright. Anyways, my purebred American here, who happens to be red and white with a blue booty, was tame number 78 out of 153. And after that spider-like encounter, I realized that anytime I'm struggling, I should just do a note run for levels. That Pego was insane. But that won't be necessary for now, because after taking some swimming lessons, I arrived in the desert. I was on the hunt for a vulture, and despite my lack of stamina, it's so bad, I was gonna find one. The sound my legs make while walking is, repulsive, and it took a while, but after witnessing a mantis steamroll said vulture, I found another by this oil vent. Get stream snipe. The vulture just kept circling my arachnid-like body, just like the dimorphs did. But this time, I had the ability to web them up, and a bit more melee range. Come to think of it, I probably could have just done this on the dimorph. I wasn't joking earlier. When I said this time, I'm going big. And now that I can fly, the very first step was to head back to the Genesis Sanctuary and find myself a Maywing. I don't know why it's so foggy right now though, but I ended up running out of stamina, and it took several dog years to reach the giant portal thing. And then when I landed on it, well, I don't know what happened exactly. What just happened, bro? I just got like launched. And on day 61, next to this tech note terminal thing, well, it happened again. Whoa, what is going on? Anyways, it was a fake explorer note, which made me very sad. This map was supposed to have explorer notes from all of the different maps as well. But regardless, it was time to enter the cave of alternate realities. But immediately upon entering, I almost got disintegrated by a gang of raptors, and then I witnessed a Bronto doing a front left leg lift workout on this wall. I was here to look for a Maywing, and definitely not a high level one. Level 80, level 80, level 68. I almost got erased from this world by Mr. Raptor again. Whoa, chill, dude. And I eventually found a level 16. And just like every Maywing, he darted away at the speed of light. But after tracking him down and cornering him in his own simulation, ladies and gentlemen, we got him. 80 out of 153. Maywings don't do very much damage. Did that Titan just fall from the heavens, but they definitely make up for it in speed. I was pretty deep into the snow at this point, and after seeing an ice wyvern next to the Crystal Isles water sphere thingy on the mountain above, I made it over to this ice bridge and landed on top of a snow gentleman. What's up, man? There was an Amargasaurus here, and I didn't have the soup thingy that he wanted to tame him, but the real reason I was here was to find a Managarmer. But then Mr. Snow Wyvern showed up. Oh! I couldn't fly because of the freeze effect, but luckily I managed to stick it out and then zip away. That was close. Anyways, I was healing up, so on day 62, I sped around the snow until I found another. I was about to take him down, but on sight, he instantly high jumped into outer space, and after catching back up, well, he decided to fight another mammoth. Really, bro? So after going for a sketchy swim in this orb of electric water from Crystal Isles, I managed to find another. He was, of course, fighting a mammoth. And notice how the mammoth managed to get a couple hits on me. So yeah, my health was low, and the mana was now distracted on this Amargasaurus. And since he wasn't fighting me, I managed to get him very low health. But because of the mammoth, well, it didn't take long before I became an 8-piece May Hot Wing. But I wasn't giving up just yet, and I grabbed an Explorer Note to juice my melee damage, headed back over, and after butt scooting straight through a boulder, I witnessed the first guy self-delete straight into the mammoths, and then like 15 seconds later, the other one did too. I found another one on the other side of the snow, and this time I was able to keep the fight going for a while, but like all manas in this world, he decided to rocket propel himself into the ozone layer and then immediately beg a mammoth for execution.
Please, sir. I want some more.
Yeah, I'm done here. So I headed back over to the snow cave, and I found the snow owl that was inside the invisible rock from earlier, and I waited patiently for him to land. Are you done yet? It took a while, but he reluctantly came down. And after a fair and square tussle, well, this happened. Are you serious, dude? So, I rage quit. The end. I'm just kidding, but I actually did feel like removing mammoths from the spawn code. Anyways, after checking out the back of the radiation cave, I don't know why I did that, I just wanted to see what was back there. I eventually found another snow owl, and after witnessing him go all the way to the sky barrier, execute an RG outside of the atmosphere, and then descend back down to Earth, I started biting. And just like that, the face of Duolingo marks Dino number 81 out of 153. Snow owls have this heat vision to hunt their prey, and they can glide like griffins, which is pretty cool. And after gliding through the midst of the night and witnessing an enraged Karkare munch on some normies, I arrived once again at the floating portal island. I tried farming some wood to make a respawn point, but I guess snow owls can't harvest for some reason, so I just had to risk it all. And I'm about to be the first owl to go to space. The ARK Way consisted of many very scary creatures. There were robotic Rexes, there were laser drones, and I think that's called a void worm. I'm not getting closer to find out. Pretty much everything here was either robotic or alien. And on the lower asteroid, I found an Astrocetus, basically a giant flying space whale. And there was also an Astrodelphus nearby too. My autocorrect just changed Astrodelphus to Astrophysicist in my script. Well, I guess it's time to beef for the space whale. Why is he not running away? The SeaWorld attraction in space here was taking it like a man. And after a few more snow-filled talons to his dorsal fin, that marks tame number 82 out of 153. And these Astrodelphus guys, they're pretty cool. Well, if you can craft their saddle. They can like turbo speed boost and shoot lasers out of their dolphin face. But unfortunately, I'm not a human and I don't have any humans around to craft me a saddle. So I'm basically just a naked flying dolphin. We're going back in, boys. I actually wanted to try and get the Astrocetus next, but first, I'm gonna check out the wasteland. I was immediately welcomed by magic mushrooms and Spinos frolicking in their hot tub. This place was, interesting. There were also feather lights, massive reapers, another fake explorer note. Okay. There was also a summoner on the other end, and he was summoning, but those guys aren't actually on the list because they don't work in the mod. However, the Shadow Mains are on the list, and there happened to be one right here. So I tried to take him out, but Space Dolphins, well, we're not the greatest. There's no way I'm fighting that guy off, but it was worth a shot. So after teleporting twice, I scanned my surroundings for any space whales. Oh, there he is. And after approaching the beast, I began my assault. It was going really well at first. I somehow found the perfect spot underneath his belly, and despite his massive whale-like spasms, he couldn't hit me. Keep on trying, buddy. But right after I talked my trash, he managed to get a hit off. Oh, that did a lot of damage. And once I had to regen stamina, well, I got moved out of position. On day 64, I tried again, but after hitting the whale's rear gut for like 5 minutes straight, I eventually started taking damage again. So I retreated from the flying obese back to the portal, headed back to the wasteland, and went back over to Mr. Shadowman. And then I got deleted. Oh, I was so close. I needed to come back with a wyvern to get probably either one of those guys, so I'll do that later. And for now, I just wanted to continue progressing towards a giga. And after some world exploration, I found myself at the Fjordur Island. There were some Andrew Circus here, and I don't know who Andrew is, but I'm assuming that he named him. But Andrew was hitting hard. Way harder than me, and there's no way I'm fighting that right now. But then I had a 2000 IQ idea. Wait, what if I just kite them off the ledge? Okay, so they skydive down here. Goodbye. And now I can come back with a land creature. So I started scouting for a land creature, but then I found this guy. Oh, a Quetzal. I needed a flyer to take down the Quetzal eventually, and well, I have one right now, so might as well. Quetzals don't fight back, but they have an insane amount of health. They're also notoriously slow, but are somehow faster than my dolphin. I guess the lack of saddle is really hurting me here. Basically, I had to keep regaining stamina over and over to sprint back over, hit him like twice, and then repeat the process. Yeah, that took a while. The Quetzal named Pretzel was tame number 83 out of 153, and he was also extremely slow. I tested out my damage on this tortoise, and it was okay. It was better than the dolphin, and the damage combined with having 1.6k health, well, I think we should pay the Shadow Man a little visit. It took about 7 generations to reach the portal, but once I finally did, having maybe a couple years left until retirement, what is this fog? I can't see anything, bro. And I paused my recording because it's like awful for the video, so you can't actually see it. But as you can see by my health right now, I couldn't see anything, and when I tried to land, I got ransacked by 47 species of degenerate. So I just kind of sat here waiting for the fog to pass, and once it did, I moved in. The red shadow mane literally disappeared into thin air, and I definitely underestimated the other one. I needed a full health bar if I was even going to attempt to fight this guy. So I farmed some bugs for meat, and after healing up, it was now day 66, otherwise known as the last day of Mr. Shadowmane's life. But once the fight started, he called in backup from the summoner, and he completely foiled my plan. The summoner's little flying flock of summons was harassing me, and it wasn't long before random giant tentacles started uppercutting me from the ground. I don't think I'm getting a Shadow Mane like this. So, long story short, I went back to where I left Andrew. Oh, they waited on me to finish falling? How considerate. And even though the Andrew Sarkis do more than double my damage, I was able to abuse the knockback and slowly break them down.
Andrew Sarkis is a beast that's full of surprises.
Andrew is tame number 84 out of 153. And it hasn't even been 30 seconds yet, but I already hate him. This turn radius, bro, why? But I came up with a plan. So after crossing the river, trekking through the extinct wasteland, and clearing an insane long jump onto Carno Island, it was time for the big guns. The Tyrannosaurus Rex is the king of the prehistoric jungle. And apparently he's also extinct because I didn't see one here. And then my mortal nemesis, the fog on this game, ruined my video quality for about 5 minutes, but after circling back around, I found one. Come here, boy. Andrew was putting up some serious numbers, but so was Mr. Rex. My health was getting lower and lower, but so was Mr. Rex. It was still an easy clap. Mr. T was tame number 85 out of 153, and oh, is he a good one. I definitely can't afford to waste this opportunity. I needed to take down some of the strongest creatures in this game if I wanted to beat the challenge in 100 days, but the main issue is gigas have insanely high stats in the wild. We're talking hundreds of thousands of health on the high levels. That's boss fight territory. And the messed up part is that if you tame them, they get nerfed by like 90%. It's blasphemy. I just realized gigas are actually catfishing. I'm not really even sure if it's possible for me to take one of these guys down, but the Rex is the best choice I'm gonna get. But I'm not gonna be able to do it with just one. I'm gonna need an army. So after purchasing myself a mail order bride, it's time to get to work. So after all of that grinding that you just saw of me trying to level up, my army of carnivorous children wasn't getting any levels from those kills. Basically, I just wasted a couple days and yeah, that's pretty annoying. Most of these guys have pretty low base stats as it is because most of them come from me, and we all know my base level wasn't very high, but at least we have strength in numbers. So we set out along the river. It took like 24,000 Buzz Light years because they either got stuck, someone doesn't follow me, or all of the above. But after deforesting the entire population of prehistoric pine trees just to forge a path towards the mountain, we began scouting for a bigger fish, or a bigger lizard in this case. Although I don't think my Rexes have high enough stats to actually take down a Giga because I can't level them up. And I'm worried that I would straight up fail the challenge if I lost this army at this point. And I also can't get to Reapers, which would be what I want to fight. So I'm actually looking for a Carcharodontosaurus instead. I think I pronounced that right this time. I do have another plan for the Giga later, so don't worry, but you'll have to wait to see it. And to be honest, I'm still kind of scared we're gonna lose to this guy because, I mean, he's not that far behind a Giga. Anyways, we found him, but I was having some second thought. But it's also really annoying to just get the Rexes to follow me, and I didn't really have the patience to go anywhere else, so I might regret this. Well, that went well. I kind of expected that, as wild Carcharos have really boosted stats just like Gigas do. In fact, so do Rock Elementals, Reapers, and even Titans, meaning all of those guys are basically impossible, except for my one backup plan. But I'm still a Rex, and as a Rex, there was still one thing I could do. Something very impactful, actually. So on day 72, I took a road trip all the way to Canada. I mean the snow. I had my sights set on the mountain, chomping every canine in my path until I finally arrived at my destination. These gray hexagon rock things everywhere mean there's a wyvern scar here. And sure enough, there was a poison wyvern lurking inside. I think I can take these guys as a Rex. But what I can't do is get out of this hole that I got myself stuck in. Oh, why can't you jump? My arms are very small. And despite my massive thunder thighs, I can't climb out either. This might be the end of Mr. T. I know I can just respawn as a new level 20 Rex, but I'm already like super powerful, and that's just unacceptable. So I just used a death command, and now I have to walk all the way up the mountain again. But after stomping on some dodos and completing my journey, I walked right past the mountain. I didn't want to get stuck again, and I was heading towards that other mountain across the gap. And after a long walk and some third-person penguin genocide, and some first-person penguin genocide from the perspective of the eyeballs that I have inside my cheekbones, I arrived at the ice bridge. You know, I absolutely despise every single one of you. And it wasn't long before I found him. He was distracted on, something. I don't really know what he's doing, to be honest. But once I got his attention, it was on. He did do a decent amount of damage, but it was nothing close to Mr. T. And after some carnivorous activities, the Ice Wyvern marks tame number 85 out of 153. Wyverns are super fast, and in this mod, they can glide, making them even faster. They also have their ability to like flap their wings and blow down the trees to farm wood, and apparently factory farm berries by the boatload. I'm pretty sure they don't do that normally. And ice wyverns specifically have their ice breath, of course. But every single wyvern variant is on my list, and I'm gonna have to catch them all. But I also have the ability in this mod, however, to go into rage mode. I'm assuming this does more damage, but I didn't test it, and now I have to wait 2.5 minutes to activate the ability again. Anyways, I wasted some time just flying around, but over by the volcano, in these red trees, there were some crystal wyverns, a tropical and a blood wyvern, I think. And I wanted to go ahead and knock out all the wyvern variants. But the problem was, well, it might be more difficult than I originally thought. Oh no, I've been blood cursed. I got deleted, and I spawned in, stuck inside the earth. So after respawning, again, and leveling up a bit, I went for the poison wyvern in the scar. And he began to, well, he began to poison me. And since I wasn't fully healed, I got deleted again. But I can respawn, he can't. What a loser. I got my revenge. Poison wyvern, 86 out of 153. And I was gonna go for a fire or a lightning wyvern next, but the scar was completely empty. Minus one poison wyvern who was home alone and had a monopoly on the nest. Anyways, after grabbing this explorer note, I passed through a floating island with a lead sickbees that outgrew his fish tank, and a giant cave covered in crystal. I think I should play this mod map again whenever I'm actually a human. Maybe for like the Hunted or Docks or some other mod, I don't know. There weren't really any other creatures on this island though, but since I could fly and I was strong, I decided to go for the Astrocetus again. So I learned how to train my dragon, pumped up my stamina and melee damage, and flew over to the teleporter. The reason I wanted high stamina is so I can shoot poison from afar without having to land very much, because poison wyverns have the furthest range out of all of the wyvern types, which is actually why they're pretty decent in PvP, even though nobody really uses them in PvE at all. In PvP, you can literally snipe people's tames from outside turret range, and you can kill people through walls. Just a tad bit broken. Anyways, the space whale was super slow, and it was pretty easy to avoid his celestial advances. So after a whole lot of poison, I brought him down to his non-existent knees. It's day 74 now, and I have become a space whale named Pablo. 87 out of 153. Pablo is very slow, like astronomically slow, which is fitting because he's from space. He has amazing base stats, but without the tech saddle, I can't even use like half his abilities, and this might be much worse than I originally hoped. But I decided that I was gonna go for the Void Worm. So after probably the slowest flight I've ever experienced, Space Whale Airlines arrived at the port. I seem to be stuck. I didn't even react to the fact that I spent 15 minutes flying here only to be too fat to ride, and instead I just decided to go fight a nearby blood wyvern. At least I tried to, but the Space Whale's basic and tail whip attack thing both have like a 10-second cooldown, and that's if I can even hit the guy in the first place, because the attack itself takes like several millennia to charge up, and it still hits like a pool noodle. This is depressing. I tried for a while, and I kept desperately trying to do the palm attack, which requires a saddle, but after this vampire looking dude got me down to half health without even breaking a sweat, I decided to pay a visit to this giga, and end it all. There's no way I'm taking down a wyvern with this useless waste of space, pun intended. So I evaluated my list, and the highest base health creature that I might actually be able to take down with this big ol' celestial trash bag is the Amargasaurus. And there happened to be one over in the add-on part of the snow. But with their high base health and my severe lack of agility, it was gonna take a while. And I'm not really sure when this happened, but once he got bloody a good ways into the fight, there was a Daedon that just randomly started third-partying our 1v1. I really needed to get the final hit, but I was out of Space Whale stamina. Oh, did that really just happen? That filthy pig stole my space kill. And there was another Amargasaurus nearby, but man, it just takes so long to do anything with this guy. Anyways, I started fighting again, a little bit of tail slapping, and then I got imprisoned inside of an icicle. I didn't know they could do that. But eventually, I found a position that was just high enough to prevent me from becoming a snow cone, and just low enough to bite that man right in his spinal cord. Yeah, this took me, it took a really long time. It's now day 75, and Prick here marks tame number 88 out of 153. He has like 2,000 base health, and I've never actually used one of these guys before. So let's test out his damage. Oh, that's not bad. He does hit hard, but the problem is there's way too much delay between hits. The left trigger attack shot this spike shield thing onto the ground, which Mr. Anki did 1,000 damage to somehow, but it also has two other modes when I press C. I can change my organic ammo to fire spikes, which immolated this poor fella and set him ablaze for a massive 0 damage per tick. Wait, what? Okay then? And the other spike is the ice spike, which we all know and we all hate. And if I keep him inside this little blue circle for long enough, we have ourselves a refreshing ice cold Anki. This is probably the most useful out of his abilities. Anyways, I needed to increase my damage a little bit, so I grabbed this Explorer note and I used the knowledge to make me stronger. There's a whole lot of creatures that I haven't lived in their body yet. That sounded kind of weird. There are 65 of them to be exact. And now that I've taken out most of the more weird, obscure, and difficult ones, it's time to start cranking these things out. The music is gone, and I still have video left. Well, this is awkward. Okay, that's all of it. The Oviraptor marks tame number 119 out of 153. There were still technically 34 more to go, but I'm pretty sure the mod map lied to me when they said that every creature spawns on this map. It's possible that some I just don't know where they are, but some of them definitely are here. And a side note, these glasses, they fit my face very well if I do say so myself. Not oversized at all. Anyways, I'm still gonna try and get all of the ones that are actually on the map, and I may be a weakling right now, but next up, all the way across the frozen wasteland, up the mountain, and after bungee jumping without the bungee, I found these little guys. Oh, how cute. It would be a shame if something happened to them. The Ferox marks tame number 120 out of 153. He's cute, he's cuddly, and he has 4 arms. And if you've never seen these guys before, you're probably wondering how this is gonna help me. I mean, it's basically a jerboa with 2 extra steps. But if you have seen them, well, you know. I had to go outside my body and use a command for that to work because the mod wouldn't allow it. But as you can see, I've gained a few pounds. This is what you could look like if you didn't quit on your New Year's resolution 4 days into the year. And these dudes are absolute menaces to society. Oh, I died. So let's pretend that didn't happen. And my goal as a Ferox was to take down a Gigantopithecus. And as you can imagine, it was pretty easy. Monkey. The Gigantopithecus was tame number 121 out of 153. And this wasn't just any Gigantopithecus. This was Harambe. These guys are the most complete creatures in this entire mod. And as you can see, there's a few more Ingrams here than the other ones. They basically can do everything that humans can do. And after farming some wood, grabbing this rock, making a pickaxe, using said pickaxe to farm some more rocks, making a hatchet, farming some fiber, and making a cloth hat and a spear, I'm ready. My first course of action as a menace to society was to flatline my inferiors. I then purchased some prime real estate, and I spent some quality time chilling in my living room with my nephew named George. He was very curious. But break time was over, and I sent George home for the night. I needed to reach level 50, and you'll see why in a minute. So I grinded some wood, set up my evil monkey lair, and a log for some extra storage. And now I have a bed, a pickaxe, a bush, and a dodo from Ohio. Anyways, I put all my stuff inside the lair, and I spent the rest of the night farming stone and fiber. And on day 94, I slayed some heathens for levels. And I unlocked all the Ingrams for a refining forge and a thatch foundation. I needed this metal, and I had to be level 50 to craft one of the Megapithecus temples. And you might already know what that is by the name, but after waiting around for some metal to become an ingot, I was greeted wholeheartedly by my monk-like brethren. And after a very sacred, very monkey-related ritual, Grandpa, Harambe's grandfather, has been summoned, and he marks tame number 122 out of 153. This was my master plan all along, because gigas are way too strong when I start at level 20 and I can't level up any of my children. But a boss, on the other hand, well, it should be amazing, but it's not, because they spawned him at level 1. 100 damage? And I only have 10k health. Bro, this is worse than the Rex was. Papapithecus normally spawns in at like level 1000, and he has a couple 100,000 health in the boss arena. So him being level 1 and not being able to level up, well, I have to say, I'm not a fan. I still had to try though, and after a monk-like expedition, I arrived at the volcano. Alright, Gigabyte, time to meet your maker. I am a failure. But it was now day 95, and my plan of getting a giga to use to get a Carcare, to use to get a rock elemental, and so on to finish this challenge, well, my plan's not gonna work. But there were still some things left that I can do, and I had 5 more days. I might as well make the most of it. The Pteranodon marks tame number 131 out of 153. And I was saving Terrence here for a very special occasion. He can fly, he's pretty fast, and he has that special barrel roll attack, so I thought he would be a prime candidate to send to space. Okay, basically, I wanted to use him to destroy that attack drone. I really thought this was gonna be very easy, but it turns out the dude runs away from me, and my stamina kinda sucks. It's almost impossible to hit him, and if I do one barrel roll and I miss, I'm out of stamina. Okay, well that's depressing. So on day 98, I needed to level up a bit. Luckily, I have wings, and wings mean flight, and flight means a very easy note run. And even though I leveled up like 50 times, I still have awful base stats, so it's not great, but it's good enough. And now it was time to get my revenge. The spin attack was a success, but he was still flying. But after one more spin, straight to the graphics card, I short-circuited that man. What's going on down there? Mr. Laser marks tame number 132 out of 153. And for some reason, if I go into first person with this guy, I become omniscient. Oh look, there's Harambe's grandfather. There wasn't much left that I actually could do at this point. Even though there's 20 creatures, most of them I was lied to and I don't think they're on the map. And some of them I just straight up failed and I don't really know what to do. But I'm gonna do an exact breakdown of everything at the end and we'll compare and see how I did. But not yet, because there's still 2 days left and there's still a couple that I have some hope for. So I decided to try the radiation cave again. But yeah, apparently robots are also affected by radiation. Seems legit. And since I was sentenced to death in here anyways, I decided to go all out and test my damage. The attack drone does 30 damage per hit, but I can't level him up to actually increase it. There's also a massive delay between shots, and that makes it pretty bad to be honest, so I don't know if this is gonna work. But since I can shoot from the safety of the air, well, I might as well try and get the Reaper. It took a minute to get him to come out and face me like a man. One damage. Okay, so I just have to shoot him 30,000 times. No big deal. Yeah, it didn't go well. There was one last creature. One creature that I could try though. The only problem is these guys are pretty rare. And by pretty rare, I mean extremely rare. Like they're the rarest creature on the entire map, but I'm gonna try my best to track him down. I really hope 2 days is enough. And on day 100, I found him. The unicorn was running.
Why are you running?
And I was still doing 30 damage per shot, but the terror birds were trying to take my kill. And in the end, they got it. I failed again. There's no way I'm finding that guy again, and he was the last tame that I even had a chance at taking down. Oh wait, I forgot about that guy. Well, actually, there was one more. I'm not really sure. I think I just missed him on my list, but I want to get as many as possible before I do a breakdown and see how well I did. And this guy, he's very gassy. That took like 35 minutes. The gas bags marks creature number 133 out of 153, which leaves 20 tames that I didn't beat. And that means I did fail the challenge. The challenge that I created and I somehow happened to make it impossible. So yeah, that was fun. I know it was starting to get pretty repetitive around the end there, which is why I did that massive montage, but I'm looking forward to some other challenges that are going to be much more interesting. Let me know in the comments if you guys prefer videos on ARK Ascended or ARK Evolved, because I'm still not really sure about that. And if you made it to the end and you wouldn't mind leaving a like, I would really appreciate it. Don't forget to download Raid Shadow Legends using the QR code on screen or the link in the description below. And if you want to see me try to beat Primal Fear within 100 days while also being on a deserted island, click right here.